Oh no!
So
What did I
great to
do?
see you
Hang on.
all.
I gotta back it up. I'm sorry. I gotta back this up. My bad. I didn't have the video unmuted. Okay.
Jews are reptilians. So it's time for the mind snatchers. I started off body snatchers, but they're really more mind snatchers. So let's get into this. The mind snatchers. Are the Jews reptilians? And if the Jews are reptilians, that makes the Christians the serpent seed. And are the Christians being transformed by the metamorphosis of their mind? Philip Rogers in with a $20 tip. Thank you so much. We had Artie Thomas yesterday, Mark Valad yesterday. So great to see you all here. It's very, 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 very nice to know that you are here. So let's talk about this whole idea of the Jews being reptilians, of the Christians, because they are Judeo-Christians, being the serpent
you can't make it up, bro.
seed, and then being transformed by the metamorphosis of their minds. So Romans 11:17 says, some branches, that would be you Christians, have been broken off. No, excuse me, that would be Israel. Israel's been broken off, and you, wild olive shoots, have been grafted in among the others to share in the nourishment of the olive root. So here is a people, the Judeo-Christians, that are of another people, some of them Aryans, some of them heathens, red, yellow, and black, and they have forsaken their own people. They've forsaken their own inheritance, and they've become race traders and have allowed themselves, or at least offered themselves, to be grafted in amongst a nation that is not theirs, a God that is not theirs, and I don't want to use that word, a group of people that's not theirs. And they get their nourishment from the seed of what it is, Judaism. Are they getting their seed from reptilian energy?
Now, you might think in your head right now that clearly this guy's a fucking lunatic. He's talking about space Jewish reptilians who came down and used, I don't know, technology to create Christians, I think. I'm not exactly sure. Not exactly sure.
1 Corinthians 11:2 says, I'm jealous for you with a godly jealousy. For I promised you to one husband, to present you as a pure virgin to Christ. Now, if you're a Christian woman, I can see where you can be all right with that. But if you're a Christian man, how do you feel about being a bride? There's no way that you can talk your way out of that. If you're a Christian man, you're part of the bride of Christ. What happens to the bride on the wedding night? Well, you have that to look forward to, my male Christian friend. And then Romans 12:2, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. I think we ought to look at that, even though we might be having some struggles with connectivity. I want to try and at least look this up. Let's see if I can get to Bible Hub, BibleHub.com. And I want to show you this if I possibly can. What is that? It is Romans 12:2. Let's get over here and try to show you this in Bible Hub.
Seems logical to me.
It's important that you see what's going on so you can understand what's happening to the Christians. And if you happen to be a Christian and you stumbled in here not knowing what this was or where you were, well, this should be an eye-opener for you. And it should be pretty interesting for you. So Romans 12, here we go. It's not going real fast, but it's going. I'll go to the Berean Study Bible because it's a better translation. So Romans 12:2. Come on, baby. Here we go. Romans 12:2. I'll get to where I want to be. That way I can... Oh, this is not good. Ah, damn it.
Clearly, the Jewish space reptilians are polluting his ability to look up the proper passage to dunk on Christians for their crazy beliefs. Those lunatic Christians and their insane beliefs.
Here it comes now. Okay, Romans 12:2. All right.
All right.
Romans 12:2. Come on. It's so slow on the. I really want to show you this though. Romans 12:2. Well, it says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." And that word "transformed," I wanted you to see it, but I just don't have the ability to get over there and show it to you now. If you look it up yourself in the original Greek, you will see that the word "transformed" means metamorphosis. Metamorphosis.
A dark metamorphosis, according to Castlevania. Dark metamorphosis.
So it is a complete change of being. Now, of course, the Christians want to tell you, oh, that just means you're putting on the mind of Christ. But what's happening is your mind is actually being changed from your natural human mind into a assimilated drone robot.
These are people who call themselves my enemies. These are the people. These are the people who talk shit to me on Twitter. These are the people who think that they can stand up for 2 seconds against me in any capacity. People who think that your brain is being metamorphosized by Jewish reptilian aliens into slavery. I'm impressed. The amount of delusion plus stupidity that it takes in that exact combination in order to come up with some of the stupidest shit that I've ever heard in my life is truly awe-inspiring. He's reading the Bible like he's a church authority. We all know he's just cherry picking. Yeah, dude, this is all just pure lunacy.
I mean, they even go so far, I don't know if I have this in here or not, to say, take every single thought captive to the obedience of Christ. You're not yourself anymore if you're a Christian. You've become an automaton. That's a robot.
An
so
automaton.
we move on. And let's talk about the matri. And that might not be the right way. I don't care to pronounce it. The matri. Who are the matri? Are the Jews reptilians? Are the Christians the serpent seed? Are they being transformed? Well, the Bible already says they're being transformed. What are they being transformed into?
What are they being transformed into?
The matri is a race of parasites that attack other planets.
What? What? We're being turned into a race of parasites that attack other planets.
Well, the Jews.
I am Optimus Wilson, leader of the Crystal Bots. Leader of the Crystal Bots. Megatron has dude. This guy is such a fucking Fruit Loop. It's so over the top. Certified lunatic for sure.
The Hebrews are a race of parasites, and they came and attacked this planet.
What?
The matri are also a race of hermaphrodites. The Hebrews were originally androgynous or hermaphrodites. Tikkun Olam wants to take us back to that. The life of a matri is 120 years. The Jewish ideal is androgyny. Tikkun Olam is designed to get us all to androgyny again, because that's what the Hebrews consider the ultimate manifestation. And Genesis 6:3, interestingly enough, says the life of man should be 120 years. One thing might be a coincidence. More than one is a coincidence. It's a pattern. The Hebrews are a race of parasites. The Hebrews attack other planets. The Hebrews are hermaphrodites. The Hebrews said the life should be 120 years. It looks like the Hebrews and the matri might well indeed be the same group of people.
It's all coming together now. The alien race. I just want to make. I don't want to straw man this poor guy's, position here. But I think if I got this right, he's saying that a group of aliens called the Hebrews, whose years are numbered 120, parasitically attack other planets and have microcosmed with other alien races in order to make a current race who are now considered Jews, and they have sex with aliens and make Christians.
And not only do the Jews fit the description of the Magi perfectly,
the
Magi also consider themselves the chosen people. Very, very interesting.
Very, very fucking schizo crazy lunatic bullshit.
Let's move on. What about the Tengri and the Vlash?
Yeah, what about? I was wondering about this. He was going through. This sounded crazy at first, but now it looks like he's going to tie it into the Tengri and the Vlash. Yeah, I was concerned before, but I'm sure that as he explains the Tengri and the Vlash, it's all going to come together for us now.
Well, the Tengri and the Vlash, they travel space looking for other species to enslave.
Oh, well, that makes sense then. Whew. Glad we got that out of the way. Man, I was worried that he wasn't going to bring up the Tengri and the Vlash. Like, all the time I'm sitting here on the Crucible constantly. And I'm like, look. The biggest problem in the universe is the fucking Tengri and the Vlash. And people in the chat are like, no, Andrew, it's not. You're out of your fucking mind. It's the reptilian Jews. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's the hybrid Tengri and Vlash who enslave planets. And they just look at me like I'm fucking crazy. Now you got the proof right in fucking front of you. Okay? So you can fucking stop. You can stop talking shit to me. I was right the entire time, as usual. Is this Star Trek says raw dogs? What the fuck? Bullet 44 for 5 says, then why does Islam exist exactly? Are the Christians persecuted if we're the offsprings of the demonic rule? Yeah, you've been saying, I know you have, Seesaw. Seesaw's been here for years. Fucking years trying to get one over on me and pretend that it was not the Tengri hybrids and the Vlash who were doing the interplanetary enslavement. And while I was telling him, no, it is. And he was like, no, it's the reptilian hybrid Jews. And I was like, nah, Seesaw. And he was like, yeah, huh? Well, now you know, fucking Seesaw. So next time, why don't you shut the fuck up? Why don't you shut up when the man in the position of authority is telling you what's what?
They look like humans, but they're smaller. And they have distinctive physical characteristics like noses.
Oh.
The Hebrews also fit the description of the hybrids. They also fit the description of the Vlash. They also fit the description of the Magi very, very well.
Oh.
So who are these Hebrews?
Yeah. Who are they?
We don't know, but all we know is that
we don't know. Well, man, I really thought he was going to tie it together for us, but he doesn't know.
There's a lot of great Aryans and heathens that are joining up with him, and I can't understand why.
Well, damn.
Okay. So let's talk more about this. Hebrews being reptilians, Christians being serpent seed, and being transformed.
Okay.
Research has led to the perfection of obedience in the Magi slaves. Now, I want you to know that every time in the New Testament, I want you to test this out yourself. In the New Testament, where you see servants of Christ, servants of God, servants of the Lord, every single time that word servant.
It's the reptilian juice. What the fuck did I walk in today, Andrew? You just shut up and listen to a lecture by a brilliant man. A brilliant man. Finally, someone making sense. Let this man cook, Andrew. So where's he getting these? I don't fucking know. Research shows, you stupid fucks.
Servant is used in the New Testament. The literal rendering is slave.
You should be sorry, Bobby C.
So the Hebrews have turned all the Judeo-Christians into slaves, just like the Magi do and did. Now, the Matri also have developed implants that regulate human blood and that control all mental activity in the brain via a chip.
I didn't know that. They developed implants to regulate human blood, controlling all mental activity via a chip in the brain. Damn. Yeah, those bastards.
What are Christians told to do? Christians are told to accept Jesus and his Father living inside them. That's an implant.
Oh.
You're inviting Jesus and his Father inside you.
So salvation is an implant in your fucking brain?
You're also told to accept the blood of Jesus and to be covered in the blood of Jesus. You're also told to take every thought captive through the obedience of Christ. You're also taught that it's no longer I that liveth, but Christ that liveth in me. And I no longer have my own mind, I now have the mind of Christ.
Yeah, you fucking microchip-brained Christian lunatics. No wonder you're always raging against the degenerate. If you didn't have that microchip in your brain, you would just be a regular coomer like everybody else. You're all nuts. Anyone who's anyone knows that these intergalactic shape-shifting Luciferian Masonic lizard colonizers do your research. I will not have you besmirch the mind snatch theory, you fucking scumbag.
So if you're a Christian, your mind is under the control of the Christ character.
Mm.
And the human brain under Matri control is actually dying.
Makes sense.
The human brain under Judeo-Christian
the ramblings of a bus stop vagrant
dying as well. Now, Matri slaves are highly submissive and dutiful. So are Christians.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? There just happens to be an...
Okay. We'll leave this for a moment. For just a moment. Oh my God. These people, these are the people, when you get to their real positions. Andrew's crazy, huh? I'm crazy. Holy fucking shit, these people. Hang on, there's more. So much more.
We run that banner for you.
So this, well, I guess we can't get into this because Mr. Doherty, he thinks that clouds are mind control devices as well, just in case you didn't know that. All right.
Just not. But we have to have, I think, a balance. And what I like about people like you is, you'll identify a problem. Oh, this is a problem, and this could be really bad. But you also will identify possible solutions for it. And I think that's the key, because we are not living in a unicorn and rainbow universe. There are entities out there that do not have our best in mind. And
those sons of bitches. I knew it. Are the mind snatchers a descendant of the body snatchers, or just evolved? Just shh. This is important stuff.
A lot of entities out there that have our worst in mind. They are trying to feed off of us. They are trying to grind us.
Chip in the brain. I knew it. Elon was an alien. Exactly. Realistic heart. Exactly.
But the proper response is, hey, it's like that old movie. What was it? Network.
They do kind of sound better.
Open up the window. I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. It's when we learn to, I have some cliches that I say, when we learn to be our own guru, when we learn to guide our own spirit, when we learn to master our ascension, when we say, you know what, I am not going to take this anymore. I'm not just going to be a victim. I'm not just going to be a sheep under some shepherd, but I'm actually...
We will resist our alien overlord, reptilian masters, by any means necessary.
Going to take intentional control of my life. I'm going to start controlling my thinking. I'm going to start controlling my intention. I'm going to realize that nobody makes me mad or makes me sad. I decide to be mad or sad based upon stimulus that I receive. And when we grow up to be big boys and big girls, I think that's what this is all about, is we can take control of our own destiny. And then once we have control of our own destiny, we pass through to the other side. We know what's going on. Okay, I've heard about this. And we can navigate through that astral plane to what's on the other side. I think the people that get stuck there, like the poor souls that Steve Huff was dealing with and some of the ones I've dealt with, they're stuck there because they didn't build the requisite skills and knowledge and information in this lifetime to be able to navigate their way through the astral plane to get to the other side where they want to be. And maybe
You can buy my Astral Plane Navigation Skill Book, The Skills Required for Transition, for $19.99 in the Crucible Grift Shop. Inside of it, it literally says, because I'm so confident in how well this book will sell, the astral transition to the other side plane. When you open up the book on page 1, it just says, "You're a fucking idiot. I can't believe you bought this book. Ha 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 ha." Now, I will sell thousands of copies of this book. I do appreciate all the information, which I was able to gather on the reptilian overlord Hebrews who came here to enslave, people and make them into chip-minded monsters. But it was through this type of cutting-edge research that I was able to make such a spiritual guide for you. You're welcome. These mind control clouds are clouding Andrew from enlightenment. My crystals are saying your denial might be the very thing summoning the alien reptilian juice into our dimension. Yes. Yes.
Rex, that's why for so many years we've had reincarnation going on, because we have to keep coming back until we get enough information to be able to go through that astral plane. And plus, I think when the Christ came, he said, look, I've come here to give you the best of all the ways, the best of all the truths that will lead you to life in a single lifetime, not through an endless series of reincarnation anymore. So when we decide, I think we keep coming back until we decide to take control of our own destiny. And when we put enough information together and enough intention together, then that allows us, when we go out of this body, then we know what's happening in the next realm, and it allows us to.
I can't believe that guy Andrew, says Jeff Doherty, believes in these fairy tales. I can't believe that Andrew Wilson guy believes in the sky daddy, right? The fairy in the sky that grants all your magical wishes. I'm fucking crazy, apparently.
Successfully navigate the astral plane. And to make things even more complicated, I think there are some people up there, I know of 2 or 3, that will actually stay there to help other people that are in that place. So they're kind of doing what we're doing.
Makes sense. You go to the next plane and you stay in the astral plane in order to help people get through the astral. That's a whole lot of empathy that these astrally projected spirits have.
From, that side of things, and we're doing what we're doing from this side of things. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's kind of where my mind is at this point.
No, it does.
Makes total sense to me. And the guy here who's responding says, oh, yeah, it does.
It does make sense. And I appreciate that. And I also wonder about some of these exorcisms that you've been a part of. And,
of course. Exorcisms he's been a part of.
If you would, talk to us about what it's like when you're working with somebody that's literally taken over by another entity that has found a way to latch onto them as a host and use their senses and take control of them.
Absolutely.
Yes, Jeff. Explain to us what happens when the alien hybrid demon monster things take control of somebody's brain.
Absolutely. And when I was this was going back 30 years when I was a Pentecostal evangelist, and the evangelist is the guy that goes from church to church to church, spends a week or 2 there and preaches the big, weekly or yearly annual meetings and stuff. So when you do that, you have to be able to preach a good sermon. You have to be able to cast out some demons. You have to be able to get some people healed. And if you can get people baptized in the Holy Spirit, have them speaking with tongues, then you're really cooking with gas. So these are things you had to be able to do. So these are things I got very proficient in. And, most of the time it was just a situation of, people didn't even always. People that think they have demons don't always have demons. I'm sure that's not a revelation to you. So a lot of times you're just dealing with people that are in, some type of a psychological catharsis, and that whole exorcism scene can be cathartic for them, and they can release something that's really not a demon, but something that's more, between their own ears or in their own physiology.
Can I jump in on that real quick?
You bet.
Do you remember the Street Fighter preacher where people are under mass hypnosis at church and people start passing out when the preacher puts his hand on their head. And, hallelujah, hallelujah. And then you'll see, if you remember Street Fighter 2, you'd have, Guile to be like, oh, you get, and he'd be like throwing fireballs and stuff like that. Uppercut. And then you'd have somebody that overlaid the Street Fighter 2 sound effects and some visual displays when they would start. You would see person after person after person pass out like dominoes, like, and I'm thinking group hypnosis. And people
absolutely.
literally, their IQ's lower, don't they, when they're in mass groups like that?
What the fuck did I just hear, dude? What did I just hear? You know how, like, when you're a Street Fighter and Chun-Li's like, you know what I mean? And she's like, spinning bird kick. And then there's like a Hadouken and, Guile's like sonic boom. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. You know what I mean. It's kind of like that. You know, spinning bird kick. You know how it goes. You know how it goes. Like, you guys know. Don't be a bunch of fucking stick in the muds. There's a bunch of sticks in the mud is what you are.
Absolutely. When you get under trance like that, it can absolutely happen to you. And it's funny that you mentioned that because, when I was an evangelist, most of the time when you're praying for people, they'll have people stand behind them to catch them, when they fall out. Well, if you were at one of my meetings, I didn't have any catchers. And I told people this. And I said, so if you go down, you better go down in the spirit because there's nobody to catch you. And I tell you what, Rex, I remember people falling down, cracking their heads on the back of pews and, face planting. Yeah. One funny story, I was standing in front of how a church is, there's a platform, and the platform in that church came up right to about the back of my knees. And I was standing up against it and I was praying for this girl. And I remember she was very pretty, very busty, had on a low cut dress. And I was praying for her and she fell forward and there was no place for me to go. So I fell straight back and she fell on top of me. And her breasts are all up in my face. And I'm thinking, wow, this isn't how I thought this would go.
This does sound like the typical Protestant experience to me, right? You know how it goes. And chicks show up to get spiritual healing in their low-cut shirts, and the priest maneuvers them in such a way that they fall forward on him with their boobs right in their face. And then he exercises the demons. He puts his face right there because he has nowhere to go, and he goes, right? That's how that works, isn't it? That's Jeff Doherty, spiritual extraordinaire, alien overlord reptiles. At least it's not Democrats. Yes, you know how it goes. We've all seen preachers do it. We've all seen preachers do it.
But
Hello.
yeah, hello.
Yeah, just another
that
Sunday
it
at
is
church.
A group, hypnosis thing, but many times or sometimes, let's say, there are people that are actually having some attachment problems or oppression or even possession by evil spirits. And I've seen that. I remember the first time I went solo, they sent me to because I was working in a team. I went to a lady that was in a former warehouse that had been turned into condos, and
If you're wondering
basement and the heat.
why it just got quiet, it's because old Letcher Jeff, when he was trying to be very expressive about motorboating one of the women in his parish who fell forward on him, oops, she tripped and flopped her boobs right in his face. What could he do? What could the poor guy do? What could any of us do? As he was animatedly telling the story, post Street Fighter Sonic Boom analogy, he became so animated he actually knocked his microphone away from his face, and so now we can barely hear him. What's the last Street Fighter you played? I don't fucking know, dude. Whoa, the Lord really moving today.
Came up through the middle of all those covers, and there were these big grates. And this lady would lay on this grate until the point where she would almost start cooking her flesh. And I was sent in there to, help her get rid of this demon. And I learned a big lesson that night. We wrestled for 45 minutes. And all of a sudden, I felt.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen to this one more time, just briefly.
And I was sent in there to, help her get rid of this demon. And I learned a big lesson that night. We wrestled for 45 minutes.
So He was sent to save this woman who was so mentally ill she was burning herself on a grate by wrestling with her for 45 minutes. Well, gee, Jeff, you had to get her out of those clothes. She probably, I mean, you can let her burn herself, right? Checks out, totally legit.
All of a sudden, I felt the spirit go, and she looks around and says, where'd my friend go? Boom, he's right back. So you can't cast out things of people that don't want them out. And number two, that night started me thinking of, okay, that demon left, or that unbalanced entity left. Where did the unbalanced entity go? And do we have a responsibility towards helping those unbalanced entities as well? And so even, 25 years ago, these things were spinning around in my head, and now they're starting to come into fruition with the work that I'm doing and actually intentionally going into the astral realm and trying to contact
Jeffrey.
So someone in the chat said, much respect. I can't wrestle for more than 10 minutes.
I got to jump in real quick if I can, because your volume lowered somehow.
He notices Rex, instead of making his traditional appeal to Street Fighter, wanted Jeff to know that when he was telling his Omega Titty Bitty story about the Protestant woman who fell on him and he motorboated her to get her off of him, that he actually became so animated he knocked his mic away from his face. So
I'm just reading through the comment section, and about a minute ago it dropped. I noticed that also.
Okay. Is it any better now?
No.
I can hear you okay. How is it? Is it better, folks?
No. No, it's not better.
I didn't touch anything.
Yeah, you know how those gremlins get after midnight.
Absolutely.
The Coomer Gremlins. I know how the Coomer Gremlins get after midnight.
I think we're okay. Yeah, I think we're okay. You guys just turn it up a little bit. I can hear him fine.
Nate Triff says, let me take care of that demon for you, baby.
I was coming to an end anyway, and I can reach over here and crank up my volume a little bit. It won't look good on camera.
It's a long time to wrestle with a woman, bro. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please?
It should be better.
Yeah, right on. Perfect. We're good. Well, here's what I find fascinating as well about.
Did you just baby? Said. That's a little holy water. It's fine.
That have an entity attached to them, you can, you could do an exorcism, but it'll just come back. If
they don't want it, if they themselves have not decided, yes, I want to get rid of this entity, and even geography, because I remember, this is crazy, Rex. I don't, for some reason.
Yeah, Rex is about to be blown away by something that's crazy. Nothing thus far has actually really, nothing so far that Jeff said has really been, I don't consider it to be particularly crazy. I mean, it's just a typical Sunday at a Pentecostal church,
For some reason, the last 5 years, I've just been writing books, and I've been, going on radio shows, so I haven't had much of a romantic life, but I did meet this one really nice lady, and, we were having, a pretty serious relationship, and one night I'm at her house, and it's...
Oh, Jeff, what did you do, Jeff? Jeff, what did you do one night at this lady's house, Jeff? Jeff, what happened, Jeff? I don't know if I even want to hear this.
3 o'clock in the morning. She's asleep. I'm not. And of course, we were studying the Bible all night long. That's why I was there overnight.
Oh, you were studying the Bible all night. Look at this. Look at this grin. Look at this grin on Jeff's face. He was studying the Bible. Hey, baby, you want to study the Bible with me all night long? Oh, God, this guy. Did he tell the demon something explicit? Oh, my God, this guy. Look at this fucking. He's like, well, I was there studying studying the Bible with her all night long.
And I look up and I see this shadow man standing in her house.
That was just the black guy came for the fun.
And I'm thinking, this is kind of weird. And I could feel it. Shadow man usually are aggressive, but this guy was kind of like
saying, oh, okay. Now it says the shadow men are aggressive. A little more implicit racism by Mr. Doherty, obviously. Suddenly at her house, out of the blue, a shadow man comes in. And the shadow man's unnaturally aggressive. Jeff, really? Really, Jeff? This guy's a master in the ancient art of Jeet Kune Do.
Taunting me, kind of like hanging back, wanting me to come after him. But something just told me, no, don't. And then in the morning, I was talking to her about it. Long story short, she said, no, he protects me. I want to keep him.
Oh. As, as shadow men tend to do.
And the reason he was taunting me is because I didn't have authority in that house. She did. And if I had cast him out, which I could have done very easily and quickly, that gives him the right to go, Christ said, and get 7 more worse than him. And that 7 might mean 7. It might mean 70.
Is Jeff saying that his girlfriend's black lover pissed him off and he would have beat him up, except she said no? Is that what actually happened here?
It might mean 70 times 7. So it's either bad, worse, or really worse. And if I had cast him out, since I didn't have the authority over that place, and she wanted him there and she's asleep, he could have gone and got some worse people and brought him back. So she'd have been in a worse place than she was at the beginning.
Poor Jeff and his shadow people.
For some reason, and I'm not sure what it is, and I certainly don't want to sound egotistical, but I think that
no, he doesn't. He wouldn't want to sound egotistical.
The fact that I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do, and finally, after all these years, I've found my great basic purpose. And even at the beginning, when I was a silly evangelist running around, Steve Martin, leap of faith style.
Yeah, I mean, back then when he was silly and didn't have all these crazy beliefs,
For some reason, personally, I've always been pretty much 10 feet tall and bulletproof as far as spiritual attack. I've had funny story. I used to go around and preach at different churches and things. I started noticing this one woman, and she was always there.
Why does Jeff have so many stories about women that he notices? And then motorboats. Why does Jeff has a lot of back when I was a pastor reading the Bible all night with women stories, doesn't he? This guy makes the girls on whatever look like rocket scientists.
Always sit in the same spot, about 4 first or second row, about 4 off the center.
Uh-huh.
And in the South, they typically, people come in, they'll put a pie or a pastry on this table, and after the meeting, you all gather around and you have a piece of pie and some coffee and stuff. And I'd seen her 2-3 months in a row, and finally she comes up to me one day and she's literally bashes her finger into my chest. I hate you. And I'm like, what did I do? And she says, for 3 months, I've been bringing, and sometimes I'll have one just for Brother Jeff or just for Pastor, and I've been bringing you poisoned pies. I'm a witch. And obviously, I don't know if she was a witch or not, but she called herself a witch. I've been bringing you, poisoned pastries. I know you like pecan pie. I've been bringing you poison pastry for 3 months. I've been watching you eat it, and nothing ever happens to you. So I really do have a great cloak, and I thank the inexpressible ones and divinity.
So a woman walked up and started poking him in the chest because he wasn't eating her poison pie. Did I understand that correctly? That this woman was bringing him poisonous pie? Well, but wait, no, he was eating her poison pie, and it just didn't do anything to him. Must have been offset by the pecans, perhaps. A bit of a pecan poison offset thing going on, perhaps. You think?
In source and whatever else you can call it, or him or them or they, for the protection that I have. But
she admitted to poisoning you?
Yeah, she did. I've been trying to poison you for 3.
As one does. I know all the times that I've always ever attempted to poison somebody, I usually walk right over and explain to them that I have been. As most of you. As you know, I mean, I don't know about you, but if you have good parents, they teach you that months into the poisoning of a person, revealing the entirety of the dark plot like a supervillain is always the best thing to do. Right? Otherwise, it really just doesn't have the sort of psychological effect necessary to really eviscerate their psychology. But as one does, when you are creating poisonous food items for people's consumption, you always want to make sure to reveal the plot. Oftentimes when you do this, at least my dad taught me the correct way, you're supposed to take your hands like so, and you put them like this, and you reveal the plot, but you can't do it quickly. You have to do it slowly. You have to say, I made the poison pies for you. That is how you reveal the plot correctly in this particular circumstance, as one does. What the fuck did I just wake up to? Don't overthink it. Don't
3 months,
overthink
she
it.
said. And I've had several witches come up to me, spells don't work on you. What's the problem? And, kind of is what it is.
Yes, but in Jeff's defense for why witches' spells don't work on him, it is because witches' spells are in fact complete bullshit. But that's why.
But as far as scary goes, you sure you want this story, Rex?
Absolutely.
Oh, man. I can't wait to hear another Jeff Doherty motorboat poison pie story. Here we go.
Yeah.
Well, back when I was a young pup evangelist, I had the opportunity to go down to Central America with a very seasoned evangelist. I was working for one of the big evangelists at the time, whose name will not be mentioned. And we were down there, and it wasn't the first time that this tribe had ever seen white people, but they didn't see them very often. I mean, we were literally, hacking through the jungle. We go into this village, and there's probably, I don't know, a couple 100, 300 people. And they had a place set up where it was, trees or poles on the side covered on top, and it was open on the sides. And we were there for 4 nights. And the first 2 nights we were preaching, I was doing most of the preaching, so not much was happening. It's probably because I was doing most of the preaching. But then...
I see. If you don't tell them about the poisoning, it never happened. Right. That's exactly. Duh. Like, it just loses all of its efficacy. Duh, Andrew. You have to tell your targets to manifest it. Everyone knows that. I know. I'm fucking stupid.
The third night, my buddy, who was quite a bit older than me, and he's not with us anymore, great guy. He got up and started giving the sermon. And we had, like, logs laid out, and there was a pathway down the middle. And, we had, like, a front and a back. We were up here in the top in the front, and he's preaching. I'm sitting beside him. And in the back, I see this guy walk in. And he's got literally this big old headdress on. I don't know if he had a bone through his nose or through his cheek, but he had a bone through something. And he was carrying this big, like, scepter thing. I don't know if it had a shrunken head on it. That's what I remember in my mind, but it probably didn't.
So he was evangelizing to a tribe somewhere who had a shrunken head staff stick and a bone through their nose. This immediately sounds credible to me. Sounds completely credible. This is usually the stories I hear from foreign missionaries that they go and preach to bone-nosed, shrunken head, staff-wielding individuals.
But it was clear that this guy was the witch doctor, right? And, now that I'm more refined,
I
I know
called
he
the
was
witch doctor,
probably
and this is what he
shaman.
said. He said,
and he walks down the middle of the aisle, right in the middle of my buddy's message. And none of these people spoke English. We were having to use an interpreter. And he says in the middle of this sermon, right to my buddy, in perfect English, "This God you speak about has no power. Let me show you power." And he lays down on the ground. It's just dirt. He lays down, and he starts to levitate, Rex.
Oh.
Starts to levitate.
As, of course, as witch doctors tend to do. Now, perhaps this does remind me a little bit of... I'm going to tell you what I think happened. Okay? Because obviously this story is complete made-up bullshit, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But here's what I think actually happened. Jeff at one point did, in fact, play Street Fighter, and he decided to pick a yoga character named Dulcim. Now, for those of you who don't know, Dulcim, of course, has a bone skull necklace, right? And he levitates. Yeah? So what comes to Jeff's mind is Dulcim. Christianity is fake and gray mind control, but I can successfully cast out demons in the name of Jesus. Sure, Jeff. Whatever you say, Jeff. Yes, so Jeff's meeting with Dulcim.
He got up about 2 feet, and I'm ready to rebuke him, in the name of Jesus. And my buddy kind of elbows me. I look at him. He just shakes his head, no. I'm like, okay. He got up about 4 feet. And I look back at my buddy. He's like, no, hold on. He got up about 6 feet high, levitated. I mean, we're in the middle of the jungle.
This tard has a better imagination than a second grader.
Going on here. This guy is levitated 6 feet high.
Peyote.
we weren't on it not knowingly, but he's up 6 feet high, and my buddy looks at me and says,
Hang on 1 second here. One second. Something just got sent to me. Oh, okay, got it. It was a bit for later in the show. All right, back to this.
now. And so I give him my best, Jimmy Swaggart, in the name of Jesus, I rebuke you. And Rex, that dude fell from 6 feet high, flat down on his back on that dirt. The wind got knocked out of him. He's wheezing and all this stuff. He couldn't speak English anymore, but when he got up, he, quote unquote, got saved. Everybody in that whole village got saved. So that was probably the most dramatic experience that I've ever been a part of. And it was.
So Jesus does save, or I'm so confused about this guy's theology still. I guess he doesn't know that Dulcim is not from South America. Perhaps not. Perhaps he does not realize
way
this.
Back when I was evangelist idiot.
I mean, I've never seen anybody levitate, so that's pretty far out. If I see somebody levitate, that is definitely going to change my perception about what certain entities can do. I mean, that's far out, man. I mean, I'll tell you, if I saw something like that, I'd be like, wow.
His friend doesn't believe him, clearly. I'd hate to think what he's like after watching Dragon Ball Z.
I've never seen anything like that before or since. That was definitely, I mean, I've heard the voice of Hitler, in one of the places that he was known to be in Germany. We've had that lady cooking herself on a grate. But that the floating witch doctor is the kind of the high point of.
He's heard the voice of
crazy supernatural experiences I've had so far.
Well, that's cool. That's pretty.
It was
far
cool.
Out, man.
It was cool, and it was very, very. And I can remember it was just oppressively hot, and of course we had to be in a suit, and we're sweating.
Yeah, I believe him.
And when that started happening, the chills just ran through me, Rex. I was like frozen and almost felt physically frozen.
Yes.
So it was just a tremendously pivotal experience and an odd experience. And that's one thing, I've had my days and time since then, is this thing all real? This woo woo. I mean, even now we sometimes we're like, I mean, if it's not the Pleiadians or the ETs or the undergrounds or the reptilians, sometimes we're like, man, are we all crazy? But you go back to certain.
I just want to answer this question for Jeff. The answer is yes. There are no Pleiadians or undergrounds or reptilians. It's all made up bullshit. A product of your mind, and you're an idiot. Just so you know, Jeff, I'm gonna tell you the truth that nobody's ever told you. Not only is nothing you say true, but you're also fucking stupid on top of that. Also fucking stupid. So not just everything is untrue, and you're a lying sack of shit, but you're also dumb to boot, this is a really bad triad, right? It's a really bad triad. So he says he lies. He says, he contradicts himself. Jesus saves and doesn't save. Then he talks about the Pleiadians and the aliens and the blah, 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 blah. These people are fucking schizo nutcases, right? And they want to attack me. They want to attack me for belief in Jesus Christ. Not kidding. Not kidding. It doesn't get any more ironic than this. And this is why I like doing trash talk extravaganzas, where I can finally roast the shit out of these tards. They're so fucking stupid. Wolfgang Snipes says, did he just casually say, I've heard the voice of Hitler? He did casually say that, yes. He did.
Events and certain things that you say, you know what? I know that there's something else beyond who we are and what we are. There's more to it than this thing. And it kind of allows you to refocus, and it allows you to say, you know what? I'm going to get to the bottom of this, even if it takes me going to the bottom of my resources. I'm going to do it.
I see. Michael says this goes from Shadow Man gangbang to poison pie. Now he's talking about hearing Hitler. What the fuck? Don't ask me, bro. Alter Void for $10 says, wait, are we getting a panel with this Jeff, that retard numbers guy, and Andrew in the future? What a time to be alive.
Used that on more than one occasion as a as a motivation to keep on keeping on.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
as one does.
And I'm also fascinated with these ancient Sumerian translations
Oh, I can't wait till we get to the ancient Sumerian translations. Cuneiform.
of what politics were like back then, what they considered demigods, what they considered, okay, how are we going to mimic the stars and plays and songs, and how are we going to give that person over there that has a political title a representation of the star constellation, the Pleiades, because he's got these superpowers that we're trying to portray, but maybe he doesn't, but we're trying to leave him in history as this kind of person, as a position, as a title, kind of like if you work for a Fortune 500 company, and then you've got the district managers, the general managers, the assistant managers, everybody else in between. Well, maybe Enki in that one tablet was considered the CFO. And Enlil was considered the CEO. I don't know. I mean, I'm just putting all this together in my head because so many of these stories you can translate to the stars in the heavens. Yet so many of these stories actually happen too. Like it talks about the politics. It talks about the wars. It talks about soap opera stuff. It talks about these guys getting wasted and then genetically manipulating beans and making mistakes. And they like to get drunk. And they like to party, they like to space travel, and they like to manipulate beings. I mean, that's at least the stories that we're told. Right. And I've read the New Testament many times. I've read the Old Testament a couple times. I've read all of the books in what's considered the Holy Bible. I've read through the Gnostic texts. I've read through much of the Book of the Dead. And I feel that I've got a decent base to connect these stories. Oh. And it seems like there are underlying themes in virtually every story that I've read, yet they'll use different names. They'll use different, how do I put it? Like they'll have the same.
These fucking people are totally insufferable. Now, could you believe it? There's actually more from Jeff Doherty boy, right? So let's dive in to watch Jeff's cope of yours truly. He seems to be very upset with me after crushing him in a debate, and he's been coping quite a bit on his Happy Heathen channel. Now, has it been hilariously fun for me to watch all of the cope by Jeff? Well, the answer to this question is, why, yes. Why, yes, it has been. It's been very fun. I've been enjoying myself quite a bit. So let's see what O'Doherty has been coping about me. 1 second. Now that you guys have gotten to know him, now that you guys have gotten to know Mr. Jeff Doherty. 1 second. Sometimes it's hard to find Jeff's stuff. Mr. E, see if you can pull that up, that cope stream he did about me. I'd appreciate it very much. But yeah, he has not been thrilled at all. Not been thrilled at all. We'll listen, while Mr. E finds that, we'll listen to a little bit more of the psycho prattle by the one and only
story, yet it'll
Jeff
come out
Doherty.
with a completely different conclusion. The bad guy will be somebody else in this story versus the other story. The Gnostics think that we are literally, our matter is the mother of matter is the mother demon in the secret book of John. So, you can get to the 666 speculation. Is that evil? Is that just based on the sun magic symbol of the like the sun box? If you take numerology and you take the sun of our solar system, and if you know what a magic box is, each number at the end will be the same, and you'd have 666. And then you've got 6 carbon, your carbon atoms mainly make up humans, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, whatever. And then you take the Gnostics version of matter, of people being a lower consciousness, being created by demons and archons. Archons, I think, are the Anunnaki in the Gnostic texts. So what does that mean, that like we're in this type of imprisonment? And that's why I kind of connected those other dots as well earlier.
So the black box, which of course came from the Anunnaki, which of course is tied into numerology, which came from the Palladians and possibly the Jewish reptilians who now control all of planet Earth, and to boot are trying to serpent seed out the Christians who are the direct offspring of the said alien hybrid Gnostic species. If it sounds like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, it's because I don't have any idea what these guys are talking about at all. They're fucking lunatics. They're clearly retarded lunatics.
But then I just think to myself, okay, so Jesus where am I going with all this? I've got somewhere where I'm going with
Where are you going with all of this?
this. Jesus in the New Testament is a completely different version of what Jesus is in the Gnostic version. And then you read about the Sumerian stuff, and it talks about Dumazid, which is very similar to Jesus. He was a king. The first time before the flood, he ruled for 36,000 years. He was married to Inanna, aka Ishtar. He went to the underworld, netherworld, for 3 nights, 3 days.
Evaluate the text, evaluate the story.
To hear the
Call him Jesus, call him Yeshua, call him Isa, call him the Christ, whatever. I can't prove that he ever walked on earth. There's literally no proof of it. And one of the most damning things is the Roman writer, I believe Philo is his name. He was actually from Roman, but he lived in Alexandria, Philo of Alexandria. And he wrote
there's more than just that.
Answer your question, all of these corollaries. Isn't it highly possible, Rex, from what we know and understand, that these different people could have been avatars that manifested at different points in times down throughout history? I mean, if the Christ came and manifested for 3 years in Jerusalem, who's to say he didn't manifest back in, Babylon or back in Sumer? And
Yeah, you stupid fuckers. How do you not know this? How do you not know this? When are you going to debate Gnostic informant again? Want to see you get cooked again? I'm debating him this weekend on Christian nationalism, by the way. He's bringing the Archons, that some David Icke bullshit, dude. These fucking people are just wildly insane. I don't know what else to tell you. They're wildly insane. So, Jeff Doherty in his cope, and I knew that this was coming. Big Tech, who is a former Fuentes hanger-on and hater of yours truly, Andrew Wilson, who likes to, he threatened to, unalive my entire family in DMs because he's a fucking psychopath, right? And then, he threatened to kill me and all kinds of things because he's a fucking crazy person. But what happens is any time I destroy one of these fucking lunatics, these two guys this guy goes fucking crazy and tries to snatch up said lunatic in order to do his own type of ripping on me. But now, of course, during the Trash Talk extravaganza, I get to tear into these stupid motherfuckers, and there's nothing they can do about it.
It's a Friday night special.
In the West, very often. It's very
niche.
I've come to learn a lot about it since then. It's actually quite bizarre.
Well,
or Andrew's one of those. Who else is Orthodox? Andrew Wilson, Jay Dyer. There's a guy named Jim Bob. There's a deacon.
But who, by the way, this guy, Big Tech, has lost debates to every single person that he just named.
A couple deacon fellas that are in Jay Dyer's Discord that I know about. Who else is an ortho bro?
I don't know. I think from what I've been able to study, there's only about this whole Christian nationalist, Christian identityist. I think the ortho bros make up about 40% of it.
Oh, brother Nathaniel.
He got
an Orthodox.
Is he still in? But he kind of got kicked out of the church, so I guess he still wears the costume and stuff.
Yeah, I heard he's going through a struggle with that. He'd probably deny it and say it doesn't count or something like that. I haven't even looked into it yet, but that's typically his answer.
Have you talked with him before?
Oh, sure. Yep.
Broken with Bjerknes, and I really had some problems with Bjerknes, although I got a couple of his books here. So really, I was just being kind of prissy myself and thinking that everything's got to be my way. But I realized if we're going to win this battle and, take our country back, take our land back, and stand up for our people, we can't insist on 100%, agreements across all accounts. Now, we can't work with the Christians for obvious reasons, but I mean, if Adam Green was ever in trouble, if Adam Green ever needed anything, if anybody ever jumped him, I would be there at his back. So
who's going to jump Adam Green? What are these guys talking about? Adam Green, just so you guys know, one time there was a bunch of Islamicists who were all over my Twitter account threatening to, Islamify me, let's say. And Adam actually was like, out of all the debates I've ever had with Christians, I've never actually gotten a single threat from a single Christian. I've never gotten one ever. Right?
So, that is what it is. It's my fault. And
okay, where were we at in the storyline? So I took you back a little bit so that you could see what this guy's actual beliefs are, this lunatic. Now we're forward to a past debate where Big Tech, a guy who hates my guts, decided that he wanted to have a discussion with this moron who I completely decimated in this debate so that they could cope about how bad I am for, I don't know how long they're going to do it. I don't care.
I do make a mistake.
Your Twitter, but I don't know much about you.
Was pretty close to convinced, but then my
idea to understand that if we put our heads together, our greatest minds, we
be anything other than intelligent design by a creator. Now, again, I'm not going to holler and scream at somebody if they don't agree with that, but that's my story, and so far I'm sticking to it.
So are you saying you've never had a mystical experience? Have you? And
no, I've had many. I've had many mystical experiences, and I am now currently on a regular basis microdosing with mushrooms.
Of course. Why wouldn't that be the case? Why wouldn't that be the case that currently Mr. Jeffrey Doherty is microdosing on psychedelics? Why would that not be the case?
But I've never had, I guess, taken a heroic dose or had, a real crazy out-of-body experience yet. So that's the answer to that.
Okay.
How about you?
I've done both of those things myself. Okay. Yeah, and I've had the breakthrough, the heroic dose one.
Mm-hmm.
It really changed my perspective on some things. So
of course it did.
If you're thinking about doing that, that might shake things up for you.
Well, I have thought about doing it, but from what I understand, and I'll look to you for some information, it's probably prudent to have a coach or a guide there with you. My wife isn't really confident enough, typically, when you take what's called,
fortunately, to initiate me or to give me wise guidance about it, which
maybe I wouldn't, but at now, my wife is saying that she didn't like it.
A poet to really kind of express what I'm talking about there. And I was talking about it last night on my show. I'm not fully convinced that we know exactly how and why evolution happens.
That's fair.
I think that it does happen.
Geography, because after the dog gets pummeled, the dog walks over there, moves the thing with his nose, puts all the balls back in, and starts shooting them at the cat. So, there's some crazy cool stuff happening right now.
That's cool.
It is cool. It makes you, the world's full of wonder, and I think it's becoming full of more wonder. Everybody's worried. I'm excited as hell, man. I
think everything probably is full of wonder when you're tripping on shrooms all day long. I think if you take what Big Tech Lunatic here refers to as a giant dose of shrooms, which, by the way, is really funny, the story with Big Tech. I thought, I had talked to him once, and I thought we had moved kind of past his whole bullshit or whatever, right? But apparently not. So anyway, I'm pretty confident if you're tripping on fucking shrooms all day, that everything is probably pretty wonderful and wondrous.
It's a great time to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, actually, and without getting too woo-woo about it, and I don't like to, especially not publicly, because keep your darkest secrets for your closest friends.
That's a good idea. I need to learn that one.
But the world does have a mysterious side to it. It really certainly does, and maybe even back to that, like the back of your hand. A thing. It's like
travel down that road, and just the microdosing is.
It feels like I'm initiating a lot. Basically that's the lineage.
A person. I want a powerful person. So there has to be, but what you said is true. I think there's a lot of truth in what you said. Maybe I'm a little utopian, but
actually there's a lot less cope on this stream than I thought that there would be. Somebody told me that they were basically on that entire stream just coping. But apparently they weren't. They were just having a conversation, as old friends do, about how they're microdosing and tripping out together. Having a mystical experience is the most straight-up experience to have. Yes. Yeah, macrodosing. Vague statement. These fucking people are bizarre. Bizarre. But anyway, that's one of the guys who really hates me. I could see why. After all, I'm not a complete fucking lunatic, and he sees people levitate. You know how it goes. You know how it goes. It's how it is.
I bet those glasses make you see better.